Welcome to Natural English Talk.
Hello and welcome to Natural English Talk. I'm Anna.
And I'm Jake. It's good to be here, Anna. Though, to be honest, I'm feeling a little bit slow today. My head feels a bit heavy.
I think a lot of our listeners can relate to that, Jake. That specific kind of morning heaviness. It's like the day starts moving at full speed before you've even had a chance to open your eyes properly.
That was exactly my morning. I woke up and before I even felt the floor under my feet, I reached for my phone on the nightstand. It's a reflex now. I don't even think about it. I told myself I was just checking the time, but, well, you know how it goes.
It's that just 1 second trap. You're still warm under the covers, the room is quiet, but suddenly, through that small screen, you've invited 1,000 voices into your bed. News, emails, social media. It's a lot of noise for 7 a.m.
It really is. I found myself scrolling through this long and tense news article about something happening on the other side of the world. And as I was reading, I could feel this tension building up in my chest. I hadn't even taken a breath of fresh air yet, but I was already worried about global problems.
It's a strange way to treat our brains, isn't it? We give ourselves no transition. We go from the peace of sleep straight into the friction of the world's problems. Does it make you feel like you're already behind schedule?
Yes, that's the feeling. I felt like I was already late for something, even though I had nowhere to be for another hour. My inner voice was saying, you need to know this, you need to reply to that. But my body was just tired. I felt annoyed at how scattered my thoughts were before I'd even had a glass of water.
I've had those mornings too. You see a notification about a work task or a message from someone asking for a favor, and suddenly your mental to-do list is screaming at you. The quiet of the morning is just gone. It's replaced by this static.
And the worst part is, I didn't even want to read those things. I was doing it almost against my will. I stayed there for 20 minutes, just scrolling. When I finally put the phone down and stood up, I didn't feel informed. I just felt mentally cluttered.
It's like starting a marathon with a heavy backpack on. You've used up your first bit of daily energy on distractions that don't even make you happy. You're trying to stay connected, but you end up feeling disconnected from your own morning.
Exactly. I caught myself just staring at the wall while the coffee was brewing, feeling a bit defeated. I wanted a peaceful start, but I chose the noise instead. It's a hard habit to break when the phone is right there, whispering to you.
It really is. It's that constant pull. We think we're preparing for the day, but we're actually just letting the day overwhelm us before it even begins. And then you finally get to your desk, hoping things will settle down, but it's often where the noise just gets louder. I sat down today and realized I had about 15 tabs open across my browser window.
15? That's actually a light day for me, Anna. Sometimes I have so many open that I can't even see the icons anymore. They're just tiny little slivers at the top of the screen.
It's overwhelming, isn't it? It's like a digital map of all the things we've started but haven't had the focus to finish. Every one of those tabs is a tiny voice saying, "Don't forget me," or "I'm still waiting."
That's exactly what it feels like. I was in the middle of writing a report, something that really needed my full attention, and the little red dot appeared on my email tab. I didn't even have to click it. Just seeing that dot made my brain jump away from my work.
It's that just 1 second impulse again. You think, I'll just check who that is, but the moment you click, you've lost the thread of what you were originally doing.
Right. And then while I'm in the email, I see a link to a document I was supposed to review yesterday. So I click that, then I realize I need to check a date on the calendar. 10 minutes later, I'm looking at a spreadsheet and I've completely forgotten what I was trying to say in my report.
It's a very modern kind of exhaustion. You're working hard, your fingers are moving, your eyes are scanning, but you aren't actually doing anything deeply. It's all surface-level reaction. I find that when I'm in that state, I start to feel this low-level anxiety in my stomach.
I get that too. It's a physical tension. My shoulders move up towards my ears. My inner voice is constantly saying, be productive, move faster. But another part of me feels paralyzed because there's too many directions to move in.
We've been conditioned to believe that multitasking is a skill, but I think it's actually just a way to stay perpetually distracted. You're touching 10 different tasks, but you aren't giving your best selves to any of them. You're just spreading yourself too thin.
I even find myself checking my phone while a large file is downloading on my computer. I can't even give myself 30 seconds of just waiting. I have to fill that tiny gap with more input. It's like I'm afraid of what happens if my brain stays still for a moment.
It's a fear of the quiet, perhaps. Or maybe we've just forgotten how to exist without a constant stream of information. By the time I closed my laptop today, I felt like I ran a marathon, but my done list was almost empty.
That's the most frustrating part. You spent all your mental energy fighting the distractions, leaving nothing left for the actual work. You end the afternoon feeling drained, but without that satisfying feeling of having actually accomplished something meaningful.
That feeling of being fragmented doesn't just stay at the office, though. It leaks into our personal lives in ways that are actually quite painful. I was having coffee with a close friend yesterday, someone I haven't seen in months, and right in the middle of her telling me something deeply personal, I realized I had drifted away.
I know that exact moment. It's that sudden, cold realization where you look at their face and realize you have no idea what the last 3 sentences were. It's a horrible feeling, isn't it?
It truly is. I felt this sharp wave of guilt. Here was someone I care about, sharing her heart with me, and my brain was busy thinking about a random comment I'd seen on a video earlier that morning. I was physically there, holding my cup, nodding my head, but my mind was miles away, chasing shadows.
It's like we've lost the ability to stay in one room. We're always elsewhere. I've done the same thing. I'll be listening to my partner talk about their day, and then a notification will buzz in my pocket. I don't even check it, but the mere knowledge that there's a message waiting for me is enough to snap the connection. My attention just breaks.
And it's so visible, even when we try to hide it. You can see it in the other person's eyes, that tiny flash of disappointment when they realize you aren't really with them. They stop talking, or they wrap up their story quickly because they can feel that the space between you isn't being held anymore.
It makes me feel quite lonely, to be honest. To be sitting right across from someone and still feel like there's a wall of digital noise between us. I find myself trying to overcompensate by nodding more or saying, right, right. But that just feels even more fake.
It's because we're treating conversation like another tab on our browser. We're trying to skim through what people are saying, looking for the main points, instead of just experiencing the moment. We've become so used to fast-paced information that a human soul speaking at a human pace feels slow.
That's a heavy thought, Hannah, that we've become too fast for our own relationships. I catch myself wishing people would get to the point faster, and then I hate myself for thinking it. I want to be present. I want to be the kind of friend who really hears people.
I think we all do, but the friction comes from this constant mental tug-of-war. One part of us craves that deep, slow connection, but the other part, the part trained by the noisy world, is always looking for the next hit of stimulation.
I've started trying to leave my phone in my bag or in another room during those moments, but even then, I can feel my brain reaching for it. It's like a phantom limb. It takes so much conscious effort just to be a normal, listening human being now.
It really does. It's a skill we're having to relearn from scratch, and it's exhausting, which is the irony of it. Being present shouldn't be work, but in a world this noisy, it feels like an uphill battle.
It's not just in those quiet, personal moments either. I noticed it today when I was just out in public, trying to get from one place to another. I stepped into a cafe to escape the wind, and it felt like I'd walked into a wall of sound.
Public spaces have become so loud, haven't they? It's rare to find a corner of the city that isn't trying to sell you something or grab your attention with a screen.
Exactly. There was music playing from the ceiling, 2 different news channels on TVs in the corners, and the person at the table next to me was watching videos on their phone without headphones. I just wanted to sit and think for 10 minutes while I drank my coffee, but I couldn't hear my own thoughts.
It's overstimulating. Your brain is trying to process the lyrics of the song, the headlines on the screen, and the conversation next to you all at once. It's like being in a room where everyone is shouting different things at you, and you're just standing there trying to remember why you walked in.
I felt this physical restlessness. I was sitting there and I could feel my heart beating a little faster. I wasn't even doing anything stressful, but the environment was forcing me into a state of high alert. I found myself looking at my watch every 2 minutes, even though I wasn't in a hurry.
I think we've lost the right to silence in public. We've replaced it with this constant input. Even on a bus or a train, if you're not wearing headphones, you're forced to listen to everyone else's digital life. It's exhausting to have to constantly filter the world just to maintain a sense of peace.
That's the word, filtering. It takes a lot of mental energy to ignore things. People think that if you aren't paying attention to the noise, it isn't affecting you. But it is. Your brain is working hard to block it out, and that work drains you.
I've felt that drain. I'll come home after a day of being out and feel completely wiped out, even if I didn't have a busy schedule. It's the sensory overload. The friction comes from our biological need for quiet and the reality of a world that is terrified of a single silent second.
I ended up putting my own earbuds in, not even to listen to music, but just to turn the volume down. I sat there in my own little artificial bubble, feeling a bit isolated. It's a strange way to exist in a community. Everyone in the same room, but everyone working so hard to pretend they are alone.
It's a survival mechanism now. We crave silence so much that we have to manufacture it. But that manufactured silence isn't the same as actual peace. It's just another layer of technology between us and the world.
I left the cafe feeling more tense than I arrived. I went in looking for a break, but I just found more noise to fight against. It makes you realize how much of a luxury a truly quiet moment has become.
And the strange thing is, even when we get back to the safety of our own homes, we don't really stop. I had a rare evening to myself last night. No work, no plans. And I decided to finally watch that movie everyone's been talking about.
Oh, I know exactly what's coming. Did you actually watch the movie, Anna, or did you watch it?
I watched it in the worst possible way. For the first 20 minutes, I was doing okay, but then there was this slow, quiet scene. No dialogue, just a character walking through a field. And before I even realized what I was doing, my hand had already found my phone on the sofa.
It's like a reflex, isn't it? Like your hand has a mind of its own. It's almost like we've developed an allergy to a slow pace. If the story isn't moving at 1,000 miles an hour, our brains panic and look for something that is.
That's exactly how it felt. I was scrolling through a social media feed while this beautiful, expensive movie was playing right in front of me. I'd look up, realize I'd missed a key moment, and then I'd have to rewind the film. I do that all the time. I'll rewind a scene 3 or 4 times because I keep getting distracted by a notification or a random thought that leads me back to the screen. By the time the movie ends, I feel like I've been working a shift at a factory instead of relaxing.
It's so frustrating. There's this quiet frustration that comes with it, where you tell yourself, I'm not even enjoying this properly. You want to be immersed in the story. You want to feel that magic of being carried away to another world, but you're stuck in this shallow loop of checking your phone for nothing. I think we've lost the patience for slow beauty. We're so used to the 3-second hook of a digital video that anything requiring more than 10 seconds of our attention feels like a burden. I feel a sense of failure when I realize I can't even sit through a 2-hour movie without looking at a 5-inch screen 10 times.
It's a small failure, but it's a heavy one. It makes you realize how much the noise has changed the way our brains work. We're consuming more content than ever, but we're actually experiencing much less of it. We're just skimming the surface of everything.
I've started leaving my phone in the kitchen when I watch something now, but even then I can feel the phantom itch. I'll think, I wonder if anyone messaged me, or I should look up where that actor is from. It's like I'm looking for any excuse to break the focus.
It takes the peace out of entertainment. Instead of the movie being a way to switch off the world, it becomes another battleground where you're fighting your own impulses. You end the night feeling restless instead of rested.
That restlessness is exactly what happened to me this afternoon. I had one specific task I really needed to finish, just a simple piece of writing. But every time I sat down to start, my brain seemed to find a reason to jump up again.
Procrastination is such a heavy, quiet struggle. It's funny how, when there's something important to do, suddenly the most boring chores in the house become incredibly appealing.
It's true. I actually stood up and started organizing my junk drawer. I was literally sorting old batteries and rubber bands, and a part of my mind was saying, Jake, what are you doing? This isn't important. But another part of me felt this strange relief in doing something small and mindless instead of the work that actually mattered.
It's because the important task feels noisy in our heads. It feels big and demanding, and our focus is already so depleted from the rest of the day that we look for the path of least resistance. We want a win, even if that win is just a clean drawer.
But it doesn't feel like a win. I felt this growing knot of frustration in my stomach. I was moving around, cleaning, checking the fridge, scrolling through my phone just for a minute, but the whole time that unfinished task was hanging over me like a cloud. I wasn't relaxing and I wasn't working. I was just stuck in this miserable middle ground.
That's the friction of avoiding things. It takes so much more energy to avoid a task than it does to just sit down and do it. You're using all your mental power to keep the guilt away, and that's exhausting. By the time I finally force myself to start something I've been putting off, I'm already too tired to do it well.
Exactly, and the noise of the world doesn't help. Every time I felt like I was almost ready to focus, I'd hear a car alarm outside or I see a light blink on my computer, and I'd use that as an excuse to walk away again. Oh, I'll just check what that was, then I'll start.
It's a constant battle against our own impulses. We're looking for any escape from the effort of concentrating. It makes the afternoon feel so long and fragmented. You end up feeling like you've been busy all day, but you have nothing to show for it but a bit of restless regret.
I eventually finished the task, but I didn't feel proud. I just felt relieved it was over. I sat there in the quiet of my office afterward, just feeling a bit sad that it was so hard to simply do one thing.
And then when the day is finally over and you think the noise should stop, it follows you right into the bedroom. I was lying in bed last night, everything was dark, the house was silent, but my mind felt like it was still at the office.
That's the hardest part of the day for me. It's like all the thoughts I pushed away or ignored during the afternoon were just waiting for me to be still so they could finally jump out. Every half-finished conversation and every to-do for tomorrow starts playing on a loop.
It's physically painful sometimes. Your body is so heavy, your eyes are burning from the screens, but the brain is just vibrating. I found myself replaying a comment I made in a meeting at 10 a.m., wondering if I sounded too sharp or if I forgot to attach a file to an email I sent hours ago.
I call it mental static. It's that high-pitched buzz of a brain that doesn't know how to turn off. I try to breathe deeply, I try to count, but then I'll remember a news headline I saw in the morning, and suddenly I'm worrying about something I have absolutely no control over at 2 in the morning.
And because we're so used to fixing boredom with our phones, the temptation to reach for it in the dark is almost overwhelming. You think, maybe if I just listen to a podcast or scroll for a minute, I'll get tired. But we both know that's a lie we tell ourselves.
It's the worst lie. I've done it. I've reached for that screen and that blue light hits my eyes like a physical shock. Suddenly, my brain thinks it's noon again. I'm looking at photos or checking the weather for next week, and the exhaustion just turns into this weird artificial energy.
It's a loss of the ability to disconnect. We've spent 16 hours reacting to things, and we've forgotten how to just let the day end. There's this friction between our biological need to sleep and this modern habit of being available and informed at all times.
I felt so drained this morning because of it. I lay there for 2 hours just fighting my own thoughts. It's like I'm afraid to let go of the day, as if by sleeping I might miss something or fall further behind.
We've lost that clear boundary between the world and our rest. Everything has bled together into one long, noisy experience. By the time I finally drifted off, I didn't feel like I was going to sleep. I just felt like I was collapsing from mental fatigue.
And you wake up feeling like you never really left the day before. The noise didn't stop, it just paused for a few hours. It's a heavy way to live, always carrying the weight of yesterday into the first minute of today.
It makes me think back to how things used to feel. I was thinking about it today, remembering being a kid and just sitting in the back of a car looking out the window for an hour. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't consuming anything. I was just bored.
Boredom. It's almost like a forgotten emotion, isn't it? Now, if we have 10 seconds of boredom, waiting for an elevator or standing in line, we kill it immediately. We pull out our phones and fill that tiny gap with more noise. But I remember that feeling of being bored and how it actually felt quite spacious.
Exactly. It gave your brain room to breathe. I remember being able to sit with a book for 3 hours and the world around me would just disappear. There was a certain depth to focus back then. If you were reading, you were just in that book. There were no pings, no vibrations in your pocket, no sense that you were missing out on something else.
There's a real nostalgia in that, isn't there? I feel like I've lost a skill I used to be really good at. I want to believe I can still find that deep focus, but I also feel unsure. It's like trying to remember a language I haven't spoken in 20 years. You know the words are there, but your tongue just doesn't move the same way.
It's a tension we all live with now. We accept this noisy world because we have to. It's where we work, where we communicate, but there's this lingering feeling that we're missing out on a quieter version of ourselves, that version that didn't feel so fragmented and scattered all the time.
I wonder if that state is even possible anymore, or if the world has just changed too much. I find myself hoping that maybe it's not about going back to the past, but just finding small, quiet pockets in the present, even if it's just for 5 minutes of truly doing nothing.
A quiet hope for a bit of stillness. I think that's a good place for us to stop today. Thank you so much for listening to Natural English Talk. I'm Anna.
And I'm Jake. We really appreciate you spending some of your time with us. Take care of yourselves, and we'll talk again soon.
Goodbye.